So, good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to the class on human resource management. And the topic that we are going to cover today is recruitment. Now, so far, what we studied was job analysis and human resource planning, which I said to you was the starting point of your procurement process. If you remember, when we studied the functions of human resource management, we said that the operative functions of human resource management starts with procurement, and for procuring employees in your organization, initially we need to do job analysis, and thereafter we need to do human resource planning. Now, in job analysis, what did we study? We saw that as a HR manager, we are preparing a detailed job description and job specification. Thereafter, we studied human resource planning. Now, what did human resource planning do? It tells us the number of human resources and the kind of human resources that are required to meet future objectives of the organization. We said that it was a forecasting technique, right? So once you have identified or you have forecasted number of human resources and the kind of human resources that are required for your organization, then the next task is to find the place from where you are going to recruit these human resources. Okay, and you will be also finding the means of attracting the human resources towards your organization. Before selecting the suitable candidates for the job, all this process is known as recruitment. Many of the people are not aware that recruitment is different from employment. So often the term recruitment and employment are used synonymously. But the fact is, recruitment is just one of the steps in the entire employment process. In fact, the process of employment or the process of employing the people into your organization starts with recruitment. Thereafter, it moves on to selection, and it ends when you are placing the person at a particular location, at a particular position in the organization. So recruitment doesn't mean employment. At the same time, recruitment doesn't mean selection. Recruitment also does not mean hiring, because hiring again comprises of two steps, both recruitment and selection. All right. So all these are different terms. So let us now see how the recruitment is defined. So as you can see on your screen, recruitment is defined as a process to discover the sources of manpower, to meet the requirements of the staffing schedule, and to employ effective measures for attracting that manpower in adequate numbers to facilitate effective selection of an efficient workforce. Now, in this definition, what we are saying is that recruitment involves number one, discovering or identifying source from where you will be recruiting your manpower. So first of all, what you need to understand that there are certain sources from where you can recruit manpower. Point number one. Point number two, as a part of recruitment, what you have to do, you have to attract a large pool of applicants to apply for existing jobs or anticipated jobs. That is the jobs which may fall vacant in the times to come. Thirdly, encouraging these applicants to apply for your jobs in the organization such that your company ends up getting effective workforce. Then Edwin B. Flippo says recruitment is a process of searching for prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for jobs in the organization. He's again saying that what are you doing? You're searching for prospective employees, that is the people who may become your employees in the future. Okay, people who have the potential. And to make them your prospective employees, what do you need to do? You need to stimulate them or you need to motivate them to apply for jobs in your organization. Now, how do you motivate people to apply in your organization? Image of the company could be one of the reasons why people would feel motivated to join your organization. Then the package, salary package that you're offering could be yet another reason for which people would like to join your company. The organization culture that is being followed in your organization may yet be another reason why people would be motivated to join your organization. All right. So what we say is basically that recruitment is a linking function, which means that recruitment is joining those people who are seeking jobs with the jobs which are ready to be filled. So prospective candidates who are seeking jobs are linked to these jobs which are vacant through the process of recruitment. Now, further, we say recruitment is a process which is concerned with, as I told you, number one, identification of sources from where the personnel can be employed, and then motivating them to offer themselves for employment. From point of view of potential candidates, recruitment is the process through which they come to know about the vacancies in the companies and the nature of jobs that are being offered. Now, to understand this better, let us have a look at one of the examples of the recruitment advertisement, which is inviting applications for the position of marketing professional for their Bangalore branch. Now, let us read what is written in this advertisement, and then let us understand how recruitment is carried out, how your job analysis and human resource planning helps in recruitment process. Okay, so it is written 22 male candidates are required as marketing professional for the Bangalore branch of a company. We are a German company manufacturing aluminium windows and doors. We are placed in 22 states pan India. Currently, we are recruiting marketing professionals for our Bangalore branch. We are seeking MBA candidates for the above mentioned post. Kindly note the following requirement. Number one, they need smart people and with good fluency in English and regional language. Appreciated if other languages are known. Person should be career oriented, honest and dedicated. Salary will be 23,000 per month plus conveyance rupees 2,000 per month. If you are able to achieve the target which is given to you, then you will be awarded with an appreciation award, or you may be sent for a domestic trip. If you exceed the target, then you will be given an opportunity for an international trip. Educational qualifications that are required is a person or a seeker should be MBA or PG diploma with specialization in marketing. Age preferably should be below 30 years. And what will be your duties? Responsible for designing marketing campaigns, for increasing sales, etc. Working conditions will be normal, 8 hours per day, 5 days a week. Reporting department will be marketing department. Send your application within 7 working days to our corporate office. Now, this is how recruitment advertisement looks like. And I'm sure all of you in the newspapers might have seen such sort of advertisements, right? Now, when we look at this advertisement, things which are very clear to us is number one, they need marketing professionals. How many? 22. Okay. And all these 22 marketing professionals should be male candidate. And for which branch do they need it? Bangalore branch. Through the process of human resource planning, what we said that we are identifying what is the net HR requirement for each and every category of employees. So here in this advertisement, we can clearly find out that through the process of human resource planning, it has been identified that this company is short of 22 marketing professionals for their Bangalore branch. And the people or the candidate that it is looking for is male candidate. After having done your job analysis, whereby we got the job description and job specification, it helps us in preparing this recruitment advertisement. Now, what did I say? What is job description? Job description tells us about the tasks, duties, and responsibilities that a person will be holding. So, in this case, they have very clearly mentioned that what will be the duties of the person who will be positioned as marketing professional. What will be the working conditions? How many hours would he be working in a day, and how many days will he be working in a week? In which department he will be reporting? All this is part of your job description. Then personal attributes, his age, he should be below 30 years. This is part of job specification. Educational qualification, MBA or PG diploma with specialization is in marketing. Then smart person, this is his skills. Good fluency in English and regional language, this is part of his skills, right? All all this career oriented, honest, and dedicated. This is again part of job specification. So, using your job description, using your job specification, which you have got out of job analysis, using the human resource planning information, we are preparing this recruitment advertisement. And as we said, as a part of recruitment, what is role of organization? It has to entice people, okay? It has to encourage people to apply for the job in their organization. So how is it encouraging people? By telling them that we are going to offer you starting salary of 23,000 per month and 2,000 for the conveyance, and if you meet targets, then we are going to give you appreciation award. We can send you for a domestic trip, and if you exceed your target, we can send you for an international trip. So in this way, company is trying to attract applicants to apply for this particular post in their organization, right? It is telling about the monetary and non-monetary awards that it would be giving to the people. Now let us have a look at another definition of recruitment which has been given by Werther and Davis. He says recruitment is the process of finding and attracting capable applicants for employment. The process begins when new recruits are sought, that the source from which they are going to be recruited is identified, and ends when their applications are submitted. So when people, after seeing your advertisement, have sent you their applications or their CV or their resume, the process of recruitment ends there. And the result is a pool of applicants from which new employees are selected. So, what can we say? Just imagine, put yourself into this situation. As soon as your MBA is going to get over, you will be applying for jobs in the organization. You are looking at an advertisement and you're applying for the job. You're sending them your CV or resume or your application. So as soon the company receives the application of all the candidates as per the deadline which has been mentioned by them in the recruitment advertisement, at that time the recruitment process comes to an end. So what is the purpose of recruitment? To attract a large number of qualified applicants who are ready to take up the job if it is offered to them. And at the same time, what are we doing? We are offering enough information for all the unqualified candidates to self select themselves out. Now if I go back to the previous example that we have seen, see in this example they have very clearly mentioned that what sort of candidates is this company looking for the position of marketing professional. The people could have either MBA or PG diploma with specialization in marketing. So all those people who have done their MBA or PG diploma with specialization in HR or finance are unqualified candidates for this position. So in this way, recruitment process gives you ample of information whereby the unqualified people can self-select themselves out. All right. We say that recruitment is positive in nature. Now, why is recruitment called positive in nature? Because the aim or objective of recruitment is increasing the number of applicants for the job vacancy. Okay. Whereas selection process is called as negative in nature. Why? Because selection process aims at selecting only the most suitable candidate out of the total candidates who have applied for the job. So recruitment is a positive process or a positive function, but selection is a negative function whereby people are being filtered. All right, let us move ahead. Now let us have a look at relationship of recruitment with all the other activities of human resource management. Now as I told you in the beginning, the input for recruitment comes from human resource planning and job analysis. So once you have received this information of how many candidates are required and what tasks, duty, responsibilities that they need to carry out, what personal attributes they need to have, based on it we are conducting the task of recruitment. What you get by the end of recruitment process, you are getting large number of applications. Now these large number of applications are used for selection process, and once selection process comes to an end whereby you have received the best candidate, then you place them on the job at a particular position, at a particular place, or at a particular department. So that is relationship of recruitment with all the other activities or all the other functions of human resource management. Let us move ahead. Now let us see what are the sources of recruitment. Now there are two broad sources of recruitment. The first one is called internal source of recruitment and the second one is called external source of recruitment. Now let us first of all look at what do we mean by internal source of recruitment. Now all those people who are already working in your organization can be encouraged to apply for job vacancies which is arising within your organization. So, what I mean is that your in house people within the organization constitute your internal sources. So, all the people who are following or who are part of your organization are the internal source of recruitment. Many of the organizations have the policy of recruiting people from within the organization. All right, they feel it as a threat to employ people from outside the organization because it is said known devils are better than unknown angels. People who are already working with you can trust them, you can rely on them, but the people whom you are going to recruit from outside, you do not know whether they'll be able to adapt to your corporate culture or not, whether they will be the right fit for the job role or not. You are totally unaware about it, right? So most of the organizations, as per their recruitment policy, first of all, in fact, tries to fill the job vacancies from people within who are already working with their organization. Now, which all people fall in this category of internal sources? Your present permanent employees. They can be encouraged to apply for higher level jobs within the organization. Then, retrenched employees or retired employees. Sometimes, what happens? Organizations prefer to re employ their retired employees as a token of loyalty to the organization. Also, you can take candidates for employment from retrenched employees. Now, who are retrenched employees? These are the people who could be terminated, okay, from the services, maybe because there was surplus of labor. And so, certain people could have been retrenched from the organization, or maybe they were unable to perform or to meet the performance standard, so they were removed from the organization. Such sort of people can be called back, all right, and they could be encouraged to apply for future jobs in the organization. These all fall in the category of your people who are already, who have been part of the organization or who are already working with the organization. Then dependents of deceased employees also are part of your internal sources. Now, the dependents, what is dependent? Dependent means all those people who are dependent on you. All the people in your family, like your children, your siblings, your parents, whosoever is dependent on you, then such people are called your dependents. So, dependents of deceased employees, employees which might have died while working in the organization, or dependents of disabled employees. Okay, some of your employees might have got temporary or permanent disability. So the dependents of such kind of employees can also be encouraged to apply for jobs in your organization. This will help in building a positive image for your company, and at the same time, it will develop a feeling of commitment and loyalty of not only your employees but also of the family members of your employees towards the organization. So these all people are or constitute internal source of recruitment. So as a part of internal source of recruitment, whenever any vacancy is arising, someone from within the organization is encouraged to apply for the job, whereby they can be promoted, they can be upgraded, they can be transferred or even demoted within the organization. Now let us have a look at what are the merits and demerits of internal source of recruitment. When I say merit, merit means advantages. Demerit means drawbacks or disadvantages of recruiting people from within your organization. Now let us have a look first of all at the merits. Now the first advantage is it is an economic process. Hereby, the cost of recruiting internal candidates is minimum. You don't need to spend on advertising of the jobs in the mass media. With internal recruitment, there is no need for onboarding. Your employees don't need to be given excessive training as a new candidate may have to be given. So we say that it is one of the economic means of recruiting people in the organization. Second advantage, it is suitable to recruit people from within the organization. Suppose, when you're considering a candidate who has been working for your company for a number of years, then what happens? You are very well aware about the strengths of this person. You know that what sort of skills does he have. So based on this knowledge, you know that this person who's already been working with us is a good fit for the company. Let's take an example here. Suppose sales representative of your organization is also a skilled writer. He's very good in writing. So if tomorrow a job opening related to content marketing position opens up, then this person can be switched to this new job role. Why? Because already he has been working with marketing department as sales representative. He has full information about value proposition of your products. He has full information about the services better than someone who will be newly recruited in the organization. So this person who was working as a sales representative can be switched to the position of content marketing. In fact, a study that was done by Wharton School of Management, in this study, it was found that external recruits are 61% more likely to be fired than your internal recruits, because these are the people who are more suitable to take up the jobs than the people who are recruited from outside. Another advantage of recruiting people from within the organization is reliable. As I told you, known devils are better than unknown angels. Now, as I said, because we know the strength of our employees, we also have the record of performance of these employees. So, the reliability of these employees and their success at new job is assured to us. And finally, satisfying. Internal source of recruitment provides satisfaction to the employees who are already working in the organization. Now, see, when people are being preferred for higher level job within the organization, people will feel more satisfied with you, right? They will feel more committed and loyal to your organization. Their employee morale will increase. It will also motivate your employees to work hard and earn promotions rather than looking for greener pastures outside. In fact, a study was done by Gallup which said that opportunity to learn and grow within the company is one of the top three factors in retaining millennials today. So, if you want to retain millennials, what do you need to do? You need to give an opportunity to learn and to grow within the company to your employees. Another study, which was done by LinkedIn, found that 24% of employees who were looking for a new job stated being overlooked for a promotion by their current employer was the reason for job hopping. So, these are some of the advantages of recruiting people from within the organization. Now, let us have a look at what are the demerits of recruiting people from within the organization. Number one, limited choice. Now, when you are recruiting people from within the organization, you are forced to select from a limited pool, and whereby you may also have to sacrifice the quality and settle for less qualified candidates. All right. So, this is one of the demerit. Another demerit, inbreeding. It discourages entry of talented people which are available outside your organization. Now, the existing employees may fail to behave in innovative ways and inject necessary dynamism. We are going to be promoted within the organization. Why should we think of any sort of innovations for improvement of our organization? So, they may fail to inject necessary dynamism to your organization. Then, another demerit is bone of contention. What does it mean? Recruitment from within may lead to infighting among the employees who are aspiring for limited higher level positions in the organization. The race for these higher level positions may end up in a bitter note whereby people will keep fighting for themselves. And finally, another demerit is inefficiency. Now, when you are going to promote people within your organization, now certain organizations have this policy whereby they are promoting people based on length of service, that is their tenure, for how many years they have served in your organization rather than on merit. In that case, what may happen? Suppose there is person A and person B. Person A has been performing excellently well for the past 5 years, and then there is another person B. He has served your organization for 20 years, but he hasn't come up with any sort of innovations. Okay, he's not a good leader, he's not a good motivator. But since your company's policy is to promote people based on length of service rather than on merit, then such an inefficient person, just based on his length of service in your organization, will be promoted. Okay, so this is one of the disadvantages of recruiting people from within the organization. Let us have a look at what is external source of recruitment. All those people who are not part of your organization, who lie outside your organization, are part of external source of recruitment. For example, employees who are working in other organizations, job applicants who are registered with employment exchanges, students reputed educational institutes, candidates who are referred by union, or candidates who are referred by your friends, or unsolicited applications like anybody who has just sent their resume on the company's website, or walk-ins. So all this form or constitute external source of recruitment. Now, what are the merits and demerits of recruiting people from outside the organization? Number one, the first merit is wide choice, right? Now, organization has a freedom to select candidates from a large pool. You may be giving advertisement in the mass media, and by giving the advertisement in the mass media, in the newspapers, on the television, on the radio, people who are geographically spread out would be getting to know about the vacancies in your organization, and all of them will apply for jobs, right? Suppose there is one job vacancy, for that you may get thousands of applications. So you have wide choice available in case of recruiting people from external source. Second merit, injection of fresh blood. Now, when external hires come in the organization, they come with a new skill set. They come with a improved knowledge than perhaps what your people who are with you might be having. So these kind of people could stimulate your existing employees who would feel like working hard by looking at these newly recruited people. So it acts as injection of fresh blood into the organization. Then another merit is motivational force. Now, recruiting people from outside also helps in motivating internal employees to work hard and compete with external candidates while seeking career growth. Now, this leads to a competitive, or should I say, constructive competitive atmosphere within the organization. Further, it has long term benefits. Why it has long term benefits? Just as I said, talented people who are joining the ranks in the organization from outside, they come up with new innovative ideas, and this leads to a competitive atmosphere in the organization, which would compel people to give their best, increase the production, and earn rewards thereby. So it results in long term benefits for both employees and for the organization. But then there are some demerits or disadvantages also. It is an expensive method because you have to spend heavily on advertisements, you have to spend heavily on training the newly recruited people. Then it is again time consuming because it takes time to advertise. If you are giving advertisements in the newspaper, if you're giving advertisements on TV or radio or on social media, then by the time people respond to these advertisements, then screening of all those applications which have been received by you, thereby calling the people for the interview and selection process. And if after the selection process you find that none of them was suitable for the position, then you have to again carry out the task of external recruitment, right? So it is a very time consuming process. Then it can sometimes be demotivating for existing employees who have put in considerable service, may feel that rather than giving a chance of growth to the existing employees within the organization has preferred choosing people from outside for filling up the vacancies. So they may feel demotivated and they may even think of job hopping, that is switching over to some other company. And finally, there is a lot of uncertainty involved when you are hiring people from outside, because you may end up hiring someone who does not fit the organization. So the newly recruited people may not be able to adjust into the new environment. So these could be some of the demerits. Now we will be continuing with what are the methods of internal recruitment. I mean, what are the ways in which internal vacancies can be filled with your in-house human resources in the organization. So when we talk about methods of internal recruitment, you have these 5 methods. You have job posting, employee referral, you have transfer, promotion and demotion as the mechanism for recruiting people within your organization. Now let us have a look at each one of them in detail. Now, the first one is called job posting, and the other name for job posting is also internal advertisement. Now, many of the employers use internal job postings in order to encourage employees to identify internal promotional opportunities and respond to those job openings for which they have skills and interest. So, you can say that it is a process of posting or advertising the jobs within the organization. Now, remember, job posting is an open invitation to all the employees inside the organization, whereby they can apply for vacant positions. Under this method, what is happening? Job openings are publicized on bulletin boards. Bulletin boards are like your notice boards in the organization, or through company's email newsletter, which is being sent to each and every employee. Interested employees can apply for the post which is being advertised. Now, another method of advertising about the job vacancy within the organization through job posting is by posting the jobs on intranet. Intranet is nothing but a private network within the organization to which all the employees are connected. For example, if I talk about ERP system, right, all of you are connected to ERP, all the teachers are also connected to ERP. So what is ERP? It is kind of a private network with which all of us who are working within the university or who are attached or connected to the university have an access to. All right. So the job openings can also be posted in this intranet, whereby all the employees of the organization can apply for the jobs in which they are interested and for which they have the skills which are required. Now, there is something called smart intranet. Now, what is smart intranet? Just as you have social media, right? If I talk about Facebook, if I talk about LinkedIn, these all are your social media platforms on which you are creating your profile. In the same way, in the organizations also, there is a private social media platform whereby the employees can be, putting up or creating their personal profile, whereby they can publicize their skills, their achievements, their strengths, which then can be checked by the HR manager, and they can take the decision of suggesting you to apply for the required job openings within the organization. Now, the advantage of this method is that everybody in the organization gets an equal opportunity to apply for the job. And since this kind of recruitment will be done within the organization, so it saves a lot of cost. Now, if I talk about companies like Hindustan Unilever, Birla Group, all of them have adopted this method of recruitment. In fact, Hindustan Unilever introduced its version of open job postings way back in the year 2002. And since then, they have filled many of the vacancies through the process of job posting in their organization. So, what is happening? Hindustan Unilever is also going a way ahead, whereby it allows its employees to undertake career shift. What do you mean by career shift? For example, if you are working at a technical position, then if you want to switch over to a non-technical job, such as marketing job or anything related to marketing research, then through the open job posting system, you are encouraged to do so. Next, you have another kind of method for recruiting people from within the organization, which is called employee referral. Now, as you can see on your screen, an employee referral program is a recruitment method which is designed to allow employees to be involved in their company's recruiting process. Employee referral means recruiting new people based on the reference of their current employee. So, under this method, a candidate is appointed on the recommendation of currently working employee. So, let us take a scenario to understand this. Suppose tomorrow I quit teaching and I join Amazon. Now, as a part of employee referral scheme, my employer may ask me to refer some potential candidates for upcoming job openings in Amazon. Now, as I know the students of MBA whom I taught in my university, I may give your reference to my company Amazon, whereby Amazon will be sending you an email stating that you have been referred by one of our employees for a particular position, say for the position of digital marketing. So kindly click on the link given in this mail and fill out the application form and attach all your documents of work experience, education, etc. So by referring you, Amazon in return is offering me a bonus. This bonus is called as referral bonus. So who's employee referral? They are all those candidates who are sourced through internal recruitment drive where current employees of organizations are providing potential candidates for a vacancy using their social network. Now, as per one of the research, it is said that current job market is 90% candidate driven. That means organizations don't pick talent anymore. Rather, talent picks organizations, which means that you and I decide whether we wish to be part of an organization or not. Therefore, what is happening? Finding and hiring talented people has become very challenging for organizations. To solve this problem, now these organizations are preferring employee referral method as a method of internal recruitment. Now, when I talk about employee referral method, there are a lot of advantages or benefits that we get out of employee referral method. Now, let us have a look at what all are the benefits. Now, the candidate who's referred is already pre-screened by the referrer. For example, I said that I am referring you in my organization. Then, because of my past connection with you, I am well aware of your strength, I am well aware of your capabilities, I am well aware of your skills, right? So, referred candidates present a much higher quality, and so they would be a reliable source to hire. Now, if you have recruited best talent, then such a person is going to stay longer with your company because it is said better the quality of hire, better will be employee retention rate. And if you are hiring someone who is not a good fit for the organization, he is likely to leave your organization sooner. Another benefit of employee referral scheme is, see, as an employee, I have hands-on experience with my company's culture. So if I'm working with Amazon, right? So being an employee of Amazon, I know very well what is the organizational culture of Amazon. I know what is my company's mission. I know what is my company's long-term vision, which means that I can easily recommend those candidates who will be the best cultural fit for my company, right? Then employee referral method is a great way to approach passive candidates. Now, when I say there are two kind of candidates, one is active candidate, one is passive candidate. Now, most of you who will be completing your MBA by next year will be active candidates. Active candidate means those who are unemployed and they're actively looking for employment. But who are passive candidates? These could be talented people who are already working at top notch positions in some companies. All right. And these are not actively looking for employment, but still they are a part of job market. And such sort of employees could be referred through employee referral scheme. Now, majority of the organizations today are recruiting people through employee referral schemes. Now, I have shown some examples here. We all are well aware of Intel company, right? Intel is offering an employee referral program which is called double referral bonus, whereby for referring women candidates or underrepresented minority candidates in United States, the company is offering bonus up to $4,000 to the employees. This is part of Intel's diversity goal. Now, if I talk about Salesforce, so US cloud computing giant, which is called Salesforce, is also offering employee referral program, which is called Happy Hours. So as a part of this employee referral program, what is happening? The company is organizing recruitment happy hours, whereby employees can invite the people they want to refer in their organization small get-togethers are arranged. So through this informal way, recruiters get acquainted with potential candidates, whereby they are encouraging them to apply for jobs in their organization. And through this scheme, Salesforce employees have been paid a total of no less than $5.5 million worth of referral bonuses. Now, there is another company that again we all are aware of, that is Google. Now, Google's employee referral program is called Razor Sharp Questions. Razor, okay, blade. So, through this method, what is Google doing? Google's HR managers are asking its employees very sharp questions, like if they wish to hire a software developer. As a part of employee reference program, your HR team is asking the employees, tell me who is the best software developer you know in Boston. Now, through these questions, what do you do? Whosoever you think is the best software developer in Boston, you will be suggesting that person's name. And then that person would be sent an email from Google stating that you have been referred by one of my employees, by one of our employees. We have considered you for a job opening in our organization for the position of software development. And so we request you to fill out our application form and attach all the necessary documents. So all these are different kinds of employee referral programs which have been adopted by many of the organizations. All right, if you talk of Citibank, HDFC Bank, my brother works with HDFC. So he was being told that he has to refer at least 5 people from his social circle for job openings in HDFC. All right. So, what I'm trying to infer upon is that every organization in the present scenario is considering employee referral scheme as a part of internal recruitment. Now, another kind of method of internal recruitment is called transfer. Transfer is nothing but movement of employees from one job to another, or from one department to another, or from one division of the organization to another division without much shift in the responsibilities and status of the employees. So we say that transfer is a lateral or horizontal move of employees. Now, to understand this, let us have an example. See, we all are well aware that we have different levels of management in the organization, right? Now, suppose that you have manager at grade 1, you have manager at grade 2, and manager at grade 3. Now, suppose further that if manager A, who is at grade 1, is under consultancy division of the organization, but now he is being transferred to research and development division. Since this type of recruitment involves horizontal movement, see, he is still at grade 1, which means he's at the same level in the organizational hierarchy or in the organizational structure. Simply, he has been moved or shifted from one division to another division. This is called as transfer, okay, whereby there is no increase in salary, there is no increase in status. Maybe the changes in duties and responsibilities, changes in working conditions may happen depending upon the situation, which means that depending upon the workload in research and development division, your duties and responsibilities may enhance or they will be reduced. Similarly, working conditions may change or they may not change. But suppose you have been transferred to a new city, then the working conditions which have been prevailing in that part of the division in another city would be different from the working conditions which were available in your previous branch in previous city. Transfer is also a very good source of filling vacancies with employees for overstaffed department. Okay. Now we had seen that sometimes through human resource planning, we may come to know that some of the departments in our organization are overstaffed. Okay. Suppose manager A, who was earlier in consultancy department at grade 1, also in the same consultancy department, there was manager B, who was also at grade 1. Suppose both of them were hired because maybe during that time the organization was performing very well. There was a lot of demand for the products of the organization. But now, due to pandemic, there is not much demand for the products. So, in this case, you have excess, you feel that you are unnecessarily paying to two managers at grade 1 position. So either you could terminate this manager or you can adjust him somewhere else. Now, what decision are you taking as a HR manager? You are shifting manager A to another branch or to another division just as an adjustment mechanism. So, this method of internal recruitment also helps in avoiding terminations, right? And since terminations are not done, are not there, your employees feel more loyal towards you. Their satisfaction increases with the organization. So, moving ahead, now another method of recruiting people through in-house method is promotion. Now we all are well aware what is promotion. It is a vertical movement of an employee within the organization. So if you are at level 2 in the organization, then you will be promoted to level 1 in the organization. So promotion refers to upward movement of an employee from one position to higher level position with increase in salary, with increase in status, and with increase in responsibilities. Suppose you were working as a sales representative with a marketing firm. Now when you have been promoted to the position of area sales manager, so definitely the workload has increased for you. Because the workload has increased for you, so the salary will be increased, your status has been increased, you're now more represented as a sales representative. So there will be increase in the number of responsibilities and duties of yours. All right. Now promotion may be temporary or permanent depending upon needs of the organization. Many of the organizations today, Tata Group, Birla Group, okay, they have this fast tracker system whereby they are promoting star performance quickly. If I talk about Hindustan Unilever, then Hindustan Unilever has a promotion system which is called Lister program, Lister, whereby it is preparing a list of star performance at an early stage and offering these people opportunities to grow vertically within the organization. Now, again, what could be the advantages of promotion?
Ma'am, it can like motivate the individuals, motivate the employees when they get a promotion and they work better.
Very good. It is a motivational tool for the employees. It is also a learning tool for the employees. Okay, then another method of recruitment is called demotion. Now, what is demotion? It is the downward movement of an employee in organization's hierarchy with lower status and lower salary. It's a downgrading process whereby employees suffer from emotional and financial loss in terms of rank, in terms of pay, in terms of status, in terms of jobs, tasks, duties, and responsibilities. Now, suppose, let us take a scenario here. Suppose you were promoted to the position of area sales manager, as I had just quoted, but you are unable to meet your targets, or you may be feeling overloaded with the work due to which you are not able to give time for your personal life, say your family life. So, in this case, you may volunteer yourself and you would request your HR manager for demotion, whereby you are asking him to put you back to the position of sales representative which you were holding earlier. Now, this is what is called as demotion, downward movement of employee in organization's hierarchy. So now when your demotion happens, what will happen? You will not be, your workload is reduced. So you will not be paid the salary which you were being paid at the position of area sales manager. At the same time, your status is reduced. You are again back to sales representative position, right? Your responsibilities are also lowered. Demotion basically, if we say, it is opposite of promotion. And what could be the causes of demotion? Why people could be demoted in the organization? Number one, as part of disciplinary action. Maybe your organization has given you several warnings that you have not been improving your performance. Despite that, your performance has been lowering. So, as a disciplinary tool, what will your organization do? It will demote you. As I had just given the example, the promoted person is unable to successfully perform his new job. So he may volunteer himself and he may ask for demotion. Or HR manager, on finding out that he is not able to meet his targets, may demote him. Thereafter, layoff and downgrading due to adverse business conditions. Now, as I just said, that many of the jobs might have become redundant because of recession in the industry, due to which your management will be forced to demote you because they are no more in a situation or in a condition to pay your salary. So under that case also you could be demoted in the organization. All these methods, talk of job posting, talk of employee referral, transfer, promotion, demotion, all these are different methods of recruiting people from within the organization. And it is being said that talk of organizations like Birla Group, talk of MasterCard, they are preferring employees recruitment through internal method first and then through external recruitment. In fact, Aditya Birla Group has maintained a ratio of 80 to 20, whereby 80 are their internal hires and rest 20 are external hires. Mastercard also hires internally people. Okay, so if they have 10 job vacancies, so out of these 10 job vacancies, 6 are their internal hires and only 4 are externally hired. Now let us have a look at what are the different methods of recruiting people from outside the organization, that is of external recruitment. So you have direct methods of recruitment, you have indirect methods of recruitment, and finally you have third party methods of recruitment. Let us have a look at what do you mean by direct method of recruitment. Now direct methods of recruitment have campus recruitment. Many of you might have faced these campus placement drives in the past. So, what happens in campus recruitment? Various organizations visit and participate in educational institutes and their placement centers. Now, what is happening? The recruiters visit educational institutes like IIMs, like IITs, and other top notch educational institutes whereby they pick up the job aspirants having required technical or professional skill, and the job seekers like the students who are looking for jobs are given the information through the placement centers about the vacancies that are available in the organizations. And as far as recruiters are concerned or the organizations are concerned, they get a snapshot of the candidates who are ready to take the job if it is being offered to them. So it is a win-win situation both for both the organizations and for the job seekers like the students. Now in campus recruitment, what happens? The company's representatives, they come and visit placement centers. They tell them that on a specific date they are going to carry out a recruitment drive. On that particular day of recruitment drive, the company representatives will be taking a preliminary screening test of the candidates. All right, and they would be shortlisting certain candidates for the interview process, which for which the students will be called in the company premises. All right, now if I talk about reputed organizations like Hindustan Unilever, Procter and Gamble, Citibank, State Bank of India, Tata Birla Group, all these organizations visit top notch educational institutions to hire engineering and MBA candidates, and they regularly sponsor certain popular campus activities like symposiums with the view to earn goodwill in the job market. Now, when I talk about campus recruitment, there are certain advantages. Number one, placement centers help students like you in locating jobs. While you are continuing with your education, while you are a part of the campus, you are being placed on the job. And in return, organizations get a lot of CVs and resumes from which they can shortlist the best candidates to fill up their job vacancies, right? Another advantage of campus recruitment method for the companies is that they do not have to pay high salaries to the students because they are freshers as compared to what they will have to pay to the experienced candidate, right? But on the negative front, what companies are getting, as I said, they are getting freshers, and since you people are freshers, they will have to spend a lot of money on training you people. So that how do organizations decide that which educational institutions will it be going for carrying out the recruitment drive? Organizations like Asian Paints or even Hindustan Unilever, Infosys, all these organizations get curriculum and syllabus of all the top notch B schools. Thereby, they evaluate the curriculum and the specialization, and then they match it with the needs of the companies. They evaluate the educational standard of all the leading B schools, including quality of the classroom, that what sort of education is being provided to the students in the classroom? What is the strength of the faculty? What all qualifications does their faculty have? Okay, then support systems like libraries. What is the quality of the books which are available in the libraries for students to refer? It also scans the entrance test, based on which the students are being admitted into the campus in order to find out the intellectual level of the students. That is to find out whether students are intellectually superior or not. Thereafter, they make the decision that which B schools it will be visiting for the recruitment drive. Now, having seen the direct method of recruitment, which is called campus recruitment, let us have a look at indirect method of recruitment. Now, advertisements, making advertisements in the mass media in order to target a group of candidates to apply for jobs in your organization is another indirect method of external recruitment. Now, what happens? You are giving advertisements in the newspapers. It could be advertisements in the television or advertisements in the radio, whereby you are giving a brief outline about the vacancies which are available in your organization, the responsibilities that a person will have to take in this particular job if it is being offered to you, then the compensation package, all right, the specifications that are required, everything is mentioned in the advertisement. Seen such sort of advertisements which are on your screen right now, right? These keep coming in the newspapers. Vacancy announcement for Reliance Group. So what are they looking for? They are looking to fill their position of senior sales manager, and the job specification, whereby they are mentioning that the person should be having bachelor's degree with minimum 4 years of working experience in cement manufacturing company as a sales manager. So all the specifications, that is the personal attributes of the candidate, are clearly mentioned in this job advertisement which is given in the newspaper. Then job description, what duties, what tasks, what responsibilities you will have to carry out as part of the job is also very clearly given in job description of this advertisement. Similarly, this example which is on your screen is an advertisement which has been given for the position of manager for logistics specialization. So the specifications, job specification, job description is very clearly mentioned in this advertisement also, and this advertisement is for the company Biocon. Moving ahead, now this is another advertisement for TCS, whereby they are looking for positions of citizen services manager, accounts officer, team lead, citizen service executives, and so on at their various locations at Maharashtra, Mumbai, Thane, Pune, Nasik, and Nagpur. Through newspapers, you can reach all the candidates who are geographically spread out. So this is one of the advantage. Now there are certain disadvantages also of using newspaper advertisements. Now many of the people may apply for the job, so that means that you will be bombarded with lot of resumes from even unqualified candidates who may not be right fit for the job. All right, in that case it leads to administrative burden. In television and radio advertisements, one of the advantages is that when you can make your advertisements more creative, you can add a lot of creativity in those advertisements as compared to the advertisements which are given in the newspaper. You can also use an ambassador to represent your company, but on the negative front, it is very expensive to give the advertisements on TV and radio. So, and sometimes, through the medium of radio or through the media of television, what is happening, people can view your ad or they can listen to your ad, and because of that it is sometimes tough for people to remember all the details about the job, which would make application process difficult. Moving ahead, now let us have a look at what are the third party methods of recruitment. Now these third party methods of recruitment are private employment search firms, employment exchanges. So what happens in private employment search firm? Now, many of you must have come across these private employment search firms when you had completed your undergraduation. Those who would have been looking for a job, if you apply for jobs in Indeed.com, what happens? You often get a job from a third party which says, sir, that we had seen your CV on Indeed.com and we understand that this is your educational qualification and you're looking for a job. So if you are going to pay 1,000 or 3,000 rupees to us on a monthly basis, then we can help you find a suitable job for yourself. We have contacts with companies whereby we can recommend you, and thereafter you just have to go and give your interview in those companies. If you get an offer letter from that particular company, then in addition to what you will be paying us on a monthly basis, 10% of your first salary should be given to us. And then it is up to you whether you want a third party like a private employment search firm to help you search a job for you or not. Okay. Now, these are called as private employment search firms. If I talk about again companies like Hindustan Unilever, okay, or companies like Procter and Gamble. Now, what do they do in order to fill their middle and top level positions? For that they hire consultants like KPMG, like Noble and Hewitt, like ABC consultants. Now, these consultancy firms or search firms, they maintain a database of the qualified candidates. And whenever a vacancy for a top position, for a top management position or a middle level management position arises in these top notch organizations like HUL, Procter and Gamble, then these consultancy firms just provide the organizations with the list of suitable candidates so that the organizations can fill up their job vacancy. And in return, these consultants are charging high fees from such companies. All right. And for lower level positions also, there are a lot of consultancy firms which are charging from the candidates directly and notifying them whenever a job vacancy is arising in the organizations. Then another kind of third party method of recruitment is employment exchange. So as a statutory requirement, all the organizations are expected to notify their vacancies through respective employment exchanges which are created all over India as per Employment Exchange Act, which was passed in the year 1959. So what is these employment exchanges doing? They are helping candidates like unemployed youth, displaced people, ex-military personnel, physically handicapped people in getting suitable jobs in the organizations. How are they helping them? As per the Employment Exchanges Act 1959, all the employers are supposed to notify about their vacancies which is arising in their establishments from time to the employment exchanges before they are filled. These employment exchange has a database of all the unemployed youth, and thereafter whenever such vacancies are arising in the public sector, employment exchange is notifying the candidates about these vacancies. And the act which was given by employment exchange in the year 1959 covers all the establishments in public sector and non-agricultural establishments which are employing 25 or more workers in the private sector. So all these organizations have to notify about their job vacancies to the employment exchange, which thereafter notifies the candidates who are registered with these employment exchanges about the job vacancies. All right. So that is third party method of recruitment, which is called as employment exchange. And in every state of India, there is one employment exchange whereby the candidates belonging to that state can go and register themselves. Moving ahead. Another third party methods of recruitment are unsolicited applications and walk-ins. Now, what are unsolicited applications? Let us have a look at them. See, unsolicited application is basically an application letter that is sent to a company although you are not aware whether there is a vacancy or not in the company. Okay, so as you people reach your final semester of MBA, what do we suggest to you people? That start applying for jobs in the organizations, right? Even when your project work is going to start, we tell you that 6 months in advance, what you need to do, you need to apply to the organizations for the project work. So you are not aware whether there's a vacancy for the position of intern, whether there's a vacancy for any sort of position in the organization, you just send applications to the companies. Such sort of applications are called unsolicited applications. And then there is something called walk-in. What is walk-in? As soon as your MBA gets over, all right, you are done with your MBA or in your final semester, you may just walk into any of the organization and you may just submit your CV that I'm looking for a job and this is my CV. Whenever any vacancy arises in your organization, please do inform me. right? That is called walk-in. So what you are doing, you're just walking into a company. Then if there's no vacancy at that point of time, then companies are maintaining your applications or your CVs in their data bank, so that whenever a suitable vacancy arises, the company may inform you and ask you to apply through a formal channel. Then we have something which is called as gate hiring. Gate hiring is basically a method of recruitment whereby employees, like blue collar employees, present themselves at the factory gate and offer their services on a daily basis. Now, I use the term blue collar workers or blue collar employees. They are those people whose job requires manual labor, that is, people who are unskilled, all right, who may be working in manufacturing organizations, construction industries, okay, they might be working as, say, mechanics, as plumbers, all right, those who are doing unskilled or low skilled work, basically electricians, aircraft mechanics, which an organization might be needing on a daily basis. So they are temporary employees who may be paid also wages on a daily basis. So that is another method of recruitment for blue collar employees, okay. And in addition to it, you also have another method of recruitment which is called as internet recruiting. Now, what is internet recruiting or e-recruitment? Okay, now when I talk about e-recruitment, online recruitment, internet recruitment, then there are certain online job portals through which you can apply for jobs in the organizations. If I talk about Naukri.com, if I talk about Monster.com, okay, if I talk about LinkedIn, all these are your online job portals on which you can submit your applications. And most of the organizations also put their advertisements about job vacancies on these online job portals. So you can apply for the jobs using these online job portals. Then some of the organizations also have their personal page on social media platforms like Facebook, like LinkedIn. So they advertise about their jobs on this social media profile of theirs. And all the candidates who are added into their social media profile can thereby apply for the jobs to the organization through a formal channel. Then in your e-recruitment, as I said, online job portals, you also have company websites. Most of the candidates, rather than directly going to the companies, what do? They just look for the job openings on the company's website. Okay, because most of the companies advertise about their jobs on their websites. So all you have to do is go to the website, look out for the openings that are available in the company at that point of time, and thereafter upload your CV and apply for the job. Now, all this is called as internet recruitment or e-recruitment. All right. So these were third-party methods of recruitment. Now, let us have a look at the last topic for today, which is what are the various factors which affect recruitment. Okay, the first factor which is affecting recruitment process, which is mentioned here, is poor image of the company. Now, if I as a candidate or Harris as a candidate is perceiving that a company is having a poor image, right? Will he apply for the vacancy in that organization? Definitely he will not. Now, if I talk about automobile sector, I am not aware how many of you are aware that the sales for the automobiles is going on declining. Most of the companies in the automobile industry has shedded about 10 to 15% of its workforce. If I talk about passenger and commercial vehicle segment, then manufacturers such as Tata Motors, Mahindra and Mahindra Group, Maruti Suzuki, Toyota and Ashok Leyland have announced no production days. Tata Motors in fact shut its Jamshedpur facility for at least 3 days in August. In the same way, Ashok Leyland, which is a commercial vehicle manufacturer, shut some of its facilities for 9 days in the last couple of months. Same way, Chennai-based TVS Group also shut their plant in Chennai for a few days because of the slowdown. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize is when you know that automobile industry, okay, is in the process of slowdown, whereby the sales is being declining, they have no work to do. Will you apply for a job in such sort of a industry or in any of these companies whereby you know that they are giving pink slip to their employees? Now, this refers to poor image of the company. Now, same in the similar manner, there are many such examples whereby the companies may have a poor image because of polluting the environment. If I talk of a company like Hindustan Insecticides Limited, then this company has been sued whereby it was said that the company is dumping hazardous waste into the nearby river, and for violation of environmental laws it has been sued in the court of law. Now when I know that this company has a very poor image, I am not going to apply for job in this particular company. In the same way, if I say that this company is known for nepotism, nepotism is giving favoritism to your blood relation. It could be your family, it could be your relatives. Now if I know that this company has a policy or it has an image whereby it is giving the it is filling the vacancies in its organization only through favoritism, then again I may not apply for a job in such sort of a company. If I talk about Forbes, okay, we all have heard about this Forbes magazine. How many of you know that Forbes magazine has been promoting a culture of nepotism? This magazine was founded by BC Forbes in 1917, and it has given top positions in Forbes company to its oldest sons, Malcolm Forbes and Bruce Charles Forbes. Okay, and further, Malcolm's son Steve Forbes is the current executive of the magazine. Now, when I know that companies like Forbes are into nepotism, all right, whereby it appreciates only filling the vacancies through its own family members, then because of such an image of the company, I may not like to apply for a job there, right? Now, again, talking about nepotism, now it is not only the business organizations where this nepotism is quite common. If I talk about entertainment industry, then in the entertainment industry also nepotism is quite popular. We have all recently heard about the death of this Bollywood actor Sushant Singh Rajput, who played the leading character in that movie MS Dhoni. He played the character of Dhoni. Now, with his death, this issue has come into forefront, whereby everybody is saying that Sushant Singh was not that outsiders are not given a proper place in the entertainment industry. All these factors add to giving a poor image to the company or to the organization, which may affect recruitment process. Then conservative company policies. Now, as I said, the company may have a policy of recruiting people within the organization, whereby they may not give an opportunity for outsiders to apply for job in the organization. And if this is being done on the basis of seniority, not on merit, then quite possible the people whom you are promoting in your organization may not be talented enough, they may not be efficient enough, okay, to fill to the requirements of the organization. Now that is again a conservative company policy which is being followed in the organization. When I was talking to you other day, I said companies like Birla Group, companies like Mastercard, what are they doing? They are appreciating their own people to apply for the vacancies which are arising, rather than giving a chance to the outsiders to apply for jobs in the organization. Now this is again conservative company policy which may affect recruitment process. Then restrictive policies of government. In suppose in a public sector organization there are 10 vacancies. You are so happy when you look at, okay, there are 10 vacancies, let me apply for a job in this organization. But then when you are looking at the advertisement, you come across that two of the vacancies will be filled for this position by general candidate, two vacancies are only available for scheduled caste, two vacancies are only available for scheduled tribes, two vacancies are only available for backward classes, and four vacancies are for physically handicapped and disabled person. Now if you are a candidate in general category or in a SC category or ST category, then again you have only two of the vacancies for you, right? Now this is again standing in the way of recruiting people. All right, the restrictive policies of government. Then size of the company, sometimes the size of the company may be very huge. If it is very huge, then quite possible that you may find the company to be unattractive. But if the size of the company is very small, okay, in that case what would happen? You may not feel like joining the company thinking that if I am going to work in this company, there will be a lot of workload which will be given to me. All right, then there could be another reason like unattractive job. If I talk about jobs which are in railways or the jobs which are in postal department, most of the students do not like to apply for such sort of jobs, right? Because you find railways, postal or telegraph department to be very unattractive, right? So such sort of jobs again you may not apply for, which again means that the recruitment process might be affected because the talented people may not apply to such sort of attractive jobs. And then finally, limited budgetary support. As I said, if you wish to give advertisements in the mass media, or you need to hire the candidates through third party method like using consultants, okay, or you are telling your management that let us hire KPMG consultant, let them suggest suitable candidates for the job openings for executive positions in our organization, then you will have to pay KPMG a hefty amount as a fees for recommending suitable candidates to your organization. Now your management may not be ready to allocate such huge budget to you for carrying out the process of recruitment. All right. So all these are the factors which affect your recruitment process.